I am resident of Collinwood, Jules Sains for YouTube, joined by Christine Pierce, Kara Tillies. How are you, ladies?
Doing very
Doing
good.
good. Doing a crazy week, but we're good.
Yeah.
They are from Between the Shadows, the Dark Shadows podcast, obviously. We're here to discuss 1840,
Yes.
the epic battle between Judah Zachary and Barnabas Collins that would, well, get settled in the courtroom in a weird way.
Yeah.
But so, what did you think of this? This story is sort of set up previously in 19, not just through the 1995 nine episodes, but when Barnabas and Julia come back to 1970, they're warning everybody of how Collinwood's going to be destroyed, and everyone's like, huh, like you're crazy. But, so, what did you think of this story arc?
First of all, I have to say I'm so glad you picked us to talk about this. This is my favorite storyline of all time. I love this. But it definitely was a crazy friggin' time.
Yeah.
Like there's so much that happens. It's like it does start like way back in 1995, and then it just continues over into 1970, and then they miss all 6 clues, and then at their best attempts everything still happens exactly the way that it did, and oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And then the trying to get back there, and Julia making it, but Barnabas didn't. Oh my gosh. Yeah. It had me on the edge of my seat the whole time.
Yeah. Like every story arc, it feels like it just comes out of nowhere. They just give it to you right then and there, and they just start it, and then it's just craziness the whole way through. But that's their style, and I like it.
It's insane.
It always puts me on the edge of my seat.
What did you think about not just the zombies destroying, because we got to see the zombies destroy Collinwood, not just destroy Collinwood, but the way they grabbed Barnabas was sort of creepy.
It's like these wrestlers.
I know.
I think they hired wrestlers for this scene because they were all big dudes.
It's like one of the quietest kidnaps.
Like shrimpy little Barnabas just kind of folding in. I love it.
I was just waiting for Jonathan to rip the shirt and reveal the ass. Like, I've had enough.
He did, but he just folded so easily. It's like, sure, you can take me, Julia. Get out. I love it.
It's a really well acted scene by Jonathan because he's deliberately buying time so Grayson Hall's character could get through the Quentin staircase, right?
Yes.
Which really, really good. It's one of the most, to me, the early underrated scenes into 1840, because it's not like from an important standpoint, it's important for one character, but you're like, okay, what's Barnabas gonna do now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Goes back to the old house to kind of pout about it.
Yeah. How do I get there?
Right.
Like, I was like, Barnabas, dude, you've willed yourself through time. You got this, buddy.
You got this. So many times you willed yourself through time. Yeah. Why was it so hard?
Yeah.
But
so Julie ends up, she comes out, she's in a very different time, obviously. It's sort of a bit like, we sort of get the Wizard of Oz effect with 1795. But with here, Julie is she's more instinctively ready for survival mode because she's been, I think all her adventures with Barnabas and dealings with Barnabas has sort of prepared her for this. What do you ladies think?
Oh, I think definitely. That's definitely the case. She got there, and she wasn't even a little bit surprised because they had already done the stairway through time. But I think her experience with Barnabas certainly prepared her for what was coming. Mm-hmm. Even the tragedy, like they knew it was coming because they missed all the clues, and I don't know if this had happened at the beginning of the series, I don't think Julia would have got along as well as she did, honestly.
Yeah.
But
after all their time travel and all their things that they have been trying to solve, like between Barnabas and Quentin and Angelique and all them, definitely gave all of her practice.
Yeah.
For all of that leading up to that,
I think she was as prepared as she could possibly be at that moment,
and just kind of winged it from there.
Yeah, totally. But luckily she needs Ben Stokes, and he helps her too. So
this is way early because I have to get his schedule to see what he's got in line next. But me and John Philip Betancourt were talking about doing, well, what did happen with Julia and Barnabas after the show? Like, did they go off and get married? And me and him have been talking about getting together and having this discussion. And when we do, I want you two to be there too, because you were both big.
Yes.
Yeah,
Like,
Yes,
what do you two think happened?
I'd love to talk about that.
The romantic in me
Yeah.
wants to believe that Barnabas finally pulled her out of the friend zone. Like finally pulled her out of the friend zone and was like, okay, let's make a go of this. You've been faithful to me all this time. Let's do it.
Well, and kind of after the whole Angelique thing, it a moment too late, realizing how you feel about each other. And I kind of feel like, in my mind, that might be him and Julia as well, down the road,
Mhm.
finally realizing it. Hopefully not on death's door.
It can't take 200 years with Julia because she's immortal.
Right.
She's
But now
amoral.
Barnabas is as well.
Yeah, that's true.
So-
That's true. So
Yeah.
John in his Return of Dark Shadows story did something really, really interesting that I won't spoil for the two of you because I don't know if you've read it.
thank you. No.
But it is really, really good. He did a really good for a 5-year blog of Dark Shadows. Really, really amazing. Now we meet a lot of Ghost, Daphne, Gerard prior to 1840, and Daphne's sort of weird interactions with Quentin. But then when you get to 1840, I know I'm jumping around, so I apologize.
All right.
We sort of learn why she wants to kill Quentin.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
What did you think of that?
Well,
Such a weird twist.
yeah.
Like we didn't know, we didn't know until she started, or we saw her carrying a gun, and then we see these weird letters and we're like, what the heck? But to find out that she came there to kill Quentin, and it took us a long time to figure out why. It's like, what you got against the man of the house, know? But then we learn it's her sister, and that's that sisterly love, and and that was a twist I didn't see coming. It was I didn't to see Daphne's ghost. It was like, why is she so hung up on Quentin? But back then it was because she was trying to kill him. And
like my first impression, I thought she was kind of like a Mrs. Johnson, like a mole working for somebody. We just didn't know who.
Yeah.
I thought that was my first impression. Didn't even think of her being there to murder Quentin.
Yeah.
At first.
Yeah.
Thought she was just a mole.
Insane.
And
she certainly was no Victoria Winters, so I was like, what is this girl doing?
Yeah.
Even we know her ghost is strange, but her as a living character is strange too. It fits.
Yes.
And when she first, I love how Julia warns her, do not work for the Collinses, do not work for I'm thinking, yeah, this is gonna go over really well. And I was being sarcastic when I first saw it, because by this time, nothing goes right for the Collins family. So this woman wanting to work for, I'm thinking, okay, she wants to work for, and then she's like, so I could kill him. I'm like, oh shit.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
this wasn't let me get some answers situation like Victoria Winters. This was I'm on a mission kind of thing.
Right.
Like, I'm thinking, is she just gonna go in like the shadow, guns blazing? What's she gonna do? And I was like, is she just gonna like end it right away? But she was a very strange character, because we've seen Quentin be married and just have these weird relationships with his wives, but this woman's not married to him, and she's just like you're done, dude. Like I want to, but like Ian said, this is his first wife's, or a woman he was in love with, sister. And it's like, so you're sort of shocked by all this, but it's a really great character though too. I think I really like the fact that they had all these little plots going on even in 1840. Like nothing was like, it wasn't too straightforward. Even though this was about Judah Zachary, it wasn't just about Judah Zachary. I'm sorry, did I lose you guys? Did I? And did that happen? Hello? Did it happen? Uh-oh. What happened?
We're back. No.
What happened?
I don't
don't
know.
know.
I swear.
Well,
Between Patrick McRae and Joel, I can't do nothing right.
no, I didn't know what happened. Well, I could hear you guys, so that's the important thing.
Okay,
Okay,
good. Okay, good.
Okay.
So, all right.
Where did we leave off?
Here's my question to you both. With when we first go in there, we learned that Ben Stokes is still is alive. He's living in the great house. He's a lot older. I gotta tell you, I was not expecting an old man Ben Stokes. What did you think of this?
I thought he'd be dead. Honestly, I didn't think that Ben would still be alive. And honestly, Ben has a granddaughter, which tells us that he potentially got married, which means that he probably got a somewhat of a happy ending. Joshua sent him on his way with $100 and his freedom. And it sounds like, he never obviously stopped working for the Collinses, but the Collinses held him in higher regard. And I think that made me really happy for Ben Stokes.
I think the main thing that shocked me about Ben Stokes is that he was at Collinwood, period.
Yeah.
Because he had the freedom to go and do whatever he wanted and never come back. And you would think without Mr. Barnabas there, he would have done that.
Yeah.
And without his dad. Joshua, thank you. And with Joshua's blessing after all these years, the thing that surprised me the most is that he was at Collinwood, period.
Yeah.
But it's kind of cool that he was still there.
You know what though? I kind of wonder. I wonder if he stayed at Collinwood because he knew Barnabas's secret and maybe he worried.
Stayed close.
Stayed close just in case.
Yeah.
Them chains got broken or something.
And they obviously did. Just.
I don't know. I wonder about that too. I wonder if he stayed put in case something happened. Because Barnabas didn't die. They just chained him up, so there was a chance
good assumption.
A Willie Loomis of that time could have gone in and
definitely
released him.
Definitely.
Or keep watch over Mr. Barnabas, maybe.
Or like in the revival, it was actually his descendant.
Yeah.
Ben opened up the coffin, which was cool. I always liked that twist.
Yeah.
But
it was really interesting. I'm sort of wondering, here's my question to you both before I give my answer.
Okay.
Do you think that Barnabas willing himself back in time sort of maybe gave Ben a hint, well, maybe I better stick around?
Ooh, they
were 1796.
Not on some, psychological level really, but physically, I feel like they were so connected to each other that I could believe that.
Yeah.
He felt that will in his heart, in his soul. I could believe that for sure.
Or maybe Ben was just, I don't know. Maybe Ben was in denial, like maybe Mr. Barnabas will get better, or maybe.
Yeah.
There
was very simple-minded like that.
I don't.
But
what do you think?
I think for what the character, how do I put this? He's very loyal, not just to Barnabas. Even when Angelique's asking him to do something, he does. Even though she has him under a spell, so he does. It just seemed to me he stayed there out of like you were saying, out of loyalty to Barnabas and maybe to the family themselves. Mm-hmm. He sort of grew to look at them as his own family in a way. Definitely. Especially him and Daniel. Like when you see Lewis Edmonds as Daniel Collins, but when their interaction is so good too. Like you believe Lewis Edmonds anytime any character Lewis Edmonds was, you believe he's that character.
Oh yeah.
Like I love the fact that you get the Bedford atrocities. I'm like, oh shit.
His little rants. I love him.
Right? Like he's going off and I'm like, because Ben reminds him of it. Oh, do you remember what happened? And he's like, yeah, I remember. And it's like, God, y'all got a really good memory. I don't, but so I love the connection. And again, it was really, really good. And it was nice to see Ben Stokes be an old man.
Yeah.
It's not
Definitely.
something. I don't think I'll never accuse DS of fan service, but this felt like just a really nice sentiment to the fans.
I
Yeah.
agree.
Before Ben dies.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and a blow to the heart to fans when he dies.
Yeah.
But I mean, Ben was always a personal favorite of mine.
Yeah.
And there wasn't a Stokes that I didn't like, unless we're talking about Parallel Time. But we're not talking about that.
And I think it just kind of gave us as fans and his character a sense of peace, and he did with it what he did. It was his choice for once. It was like his only choice in how many years?
True.
And we just got to see him at peace, I think.
And we didn't get the end of Ben Stokes. We in 1795, the only thing we knew was that Barnabas asked his dad for Ben's freedom.
Yeah.
And we knew that Joshua Collins gave it.
Yeah.
But we never knew what became of that. So I think I can definitely agree with that this gave us some closure on good old Ben Stokes.
Yeah.
So
Because like Yinzer both saying, he had the freedom to still leave. Nothing nothing was really keeping him there. I mean, his freedom was always guaranteed. But freedom is always a choice of, okay, do I really want to go, or do I want to stay and try to help this family? Because he's seen them go through the witchcraft and what Angelique put him through. I could see it, like, oh, you know what, I'll stay. Why not?
I agree.
And just a really, so Gerard Stiles, the ghost of Gerard Stiles. We saw the ghost of Quentin, and we weren't expecting this handsome, romantic way with the ladies. When you meet Gerard Stiles, how shocked at you were you?
I think I mentioned on another one when we were on here on another time how different the reaction was with Gerard as opposed to Quentin, because when we meet Quentin, he's just Quentin. Like he's Quentin Collins, he's the man who the ghost is.
Yeah.
But Gerard is Gerard Stiles, and we didn't know that the ghost that was possessing Collinwood wasn't Gerard. It was just Gerard's image, it was Judah Zachary.
Mm-hmm.
And whether there's some debate on whether or not Judah Zachary was responsible for Quentin's ghost either. I know we're not talking about that, but but when we meet Gerard, it was a shock to me, at least, to learn that Gerard wasn't the one possessing Collinwood. It was Judah Zachary. And we're like, hold up.
Right.
It's two different people.
Right.
And even though Gerard's not entirely stand up, it's still a shock, and we still only get a piece of Gerard when we get back there before we get Gerard Stiles possessed.
It's one of those really cool shock factors that really got me. I didn't even think until they went in and explained it. And I was like, oh my gosh.
Insane.
Yeah, it was a shock. So.
Yeah, because in the 1995 episodes, I know I'm going back a bit, when Julia gets possessed, James Storm mouths something to her. You got to go catch this, and trust me, it's there. I think he's mouthing his name, the name Gerard Stiles, at her.
Okay.
Sort of give this, because if he says Judah Zachary, well, the deception's up,
Right.
Yes.
So why not let them think, oh, this is all Gerard Stiles' fault, But here, that's what's so shocking when you see him. He's very charming. He's very nice. He's direct, and he can be forceful when he wants to.
Yeah.
But I like the fact that he has these magical hands.
I know. He just points and
Mm-hmm.
I know, you're right.
Which is really interesting. And I like the fact that he dabbles in seance and tarot cards. He's very much a Dark Shadows character. He fits right in.
Certainly is.
There's one in every century that is interested in that and gives it to the family.
The one thing I was shocked at most is he's a sailor.
Yeah.
What did you think of that?
It was
It was interesting. But I kind of thought maybe that's how he got involved with the Collinses in the first place, down at the ports, coming in on a ship or something of some sort.
I have a theory, and honestly, it's just a theory. I'm not sure I have anything to base this on, but I have a theory that he sailed with Quentin and somehow he made it back, but Quentin and Tad didn't. I have a theory that Gerard killed them. I don't know that for certain. It's just a theory that I have, but I think maybe he tossed him overboard or they accidentally went overboard, but I feel like Gerard may or may not have a hand in that. So just a thought, but
You feel that Gerard's story, if he tried to save them, is a bit iffy.
yes.
I think Quentin, even though he does feel that Gerard did, like, we never see the effort. I think that's the trickiest thing. We never see the effort.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
so it's really suspicious. It's like, I get Dark Shadows probably couldn't do something like that at that given time, but that would have been really nice to see, like, if Gerard just gave up trying to rescue them and, like, let him drown, you know, because it could be, we don't know, and he's making these moves on Samantha, like,
Right, like immediately, like,
But Samantha eats it up.
yeah,
She really does.
she's not stand up either.
No. We learned that very quickly too.
yeah, she's like, it's like, lady, there is a ring on your finger, right? Does that mean no? Okay. But she's like flirting with him back. She's real smitten with him. And it's like, it's James Storm. I can get why. Like, he's a handsome looking dude. Like,
Oh, my husband. No. I'm just kidding.
I'm an enabler. I will plead guilty to enabling. I'm sorry.
Okay, we have an understanding. It's all right.
Anybody's husband, wives, whoever.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's all make believe.
I'm on one. I'm sorry.
There's a wanted poster for who? Joel Sates? I don't know that guy. But,
Who's that? No.
oh my god! But
Sorry.
he really is handsome.
He is.
So it's easy to see why Samantha's smitten with him, and he, like we've talked about with Quentin. Quentin was charming. So is James Storm. It's almost like I swear to God, they were going. I wonder if the writers ever thought about just putting Gerard Stiles as Gerard Collins and making him Quentin's brother at times.
Right?
It would have worked.
I think the turnout would have been about the same.
Yeah.
I mean, Daniel Collins still, loathed his son Gabriel because he was an invalid and never let anybody forget that he was an invalid, you know, and Daniel Collins just couldn't stand Gabriel. So I wonder what the relationship would have been, because Quentin was the special boy. He was the favorite. He was the heir. But I wonder how that would have changed with Gerard because Daniel liked Gerard too. Yeah. So,
yeah.
I mean, and Quentin and Gerard were pretty close.
They were best friends.
And I think that could have been totally different if they were brothers, honestly.
Yeah.
That animosity
could have
of
changed.
the Collinses, all the siblings have something between them, bickering and bitterness.
Totally.
But I think they would have not been best friends at all if they were brothers.
Yeah.
You can't be Jeremiah and Barnabas.
No.
but yeah.
So Samantha and Gerard do get married, but before that happens, we have Gabriel who's blackmailing Gerard. That Evan Miller, you're really Evan Miller. So Gerard's not really his real name, which was interesting.
Yeah.
But Gabriel's what were your thoughts on Gabriel Collins?
Gabriel Collins.
I mean, he's
guy.
a turnoff from the start, honestly. Like, he's very crotchety and very bitter and very unpleasant.
Yeah.
I mean, and he doesn't change.
And very abusive towards just about everybody.
Yeah, towards everyone.
Like verbally abusive because we don't know at this point yet that he can get up and freaking walk, but but verbally abusive, with the little ball squeezing the hell out of it, pretending it's somebody else. And but Gabriel was a pill. He was a pill and a half. But had a funny laugh. I always laughed at Gabriel's laugh. But that's about the only thing that I liked about Gabriel.
Do
Yeah.
either of you think that when Gabriel was squeezing that ball, he was visualizing people's throats?
Absolutely.
Oh, yes.
You couldn't wait to get out of that chair and kill somebody. Like, for real.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
What a punk.
Here's an idea for Wallace McBride, and no, you do not have to pay me for this. Not that he would. I'm just saying. Here's an idea. Wheelchair psychopath with a picture of Gabriel.
Yes.
Oh my god.
He's just pure psychotic. I mean, but he holds it at times. Like he's at one minute he's talking to you, like trying to be your friend, and then the next minute he's like, "Oh, but I got this scheme going on." I'm like,
Right.
"Who are you, dude?"
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And none of his ideas are good ones.
It's like, how far can you go in that chair? It's like,
Exactly.
But yeah, it's like he had something on everybody.
Yeah. Had something on everybody, was pissed off at everybody.
Yeah.
You know, his wife even hated him, you know?
Yeah.
His own wife hated
Yeah.
him.
Very unpleasant.
And
Yeah, they get Terry Crawford to come back to play his wife, which I like.
yes.
It was nice to see her again because we hadn't seen her since 1897
Right.
arc. But I'm thinking she's playing Edith. I'm thinking, wait, Edith? Oh God, this ain't gonna turn out good.
Yeah.
Like, and
There's
plus,
some hot Edith.
right? You're married to Gabriel. Gabriel, like, girl, what were you thinking?
Seriously.
It's like,
Because he got injured as a boy and she married him in that wheelchair. So what was she thinking? It must have been the Collins money. I don't know.
you know, man.
Gold digger.
I sort of wonder if the two Gabriel, because we always sense there's a bit of Collins charm. I sort of wonder if the Collins charm came into play when it came to Gabriel. That maybe he was a little bit smoother to her than what we'll ever realize.
Yeah.
Could be. Could be.
It was a different time. He could have not been so bitter about things back then.
Yeah.
Still had a little bit of charm left, like you said.
Yeah.
It's crazy to think because like when we do see him, when he got out of that chair, I'm like, my mouth dropped to the floor.
Hold on.
Me too. What just happened?
Like, was that Gabriel that just stood up? Hold on.
Like it's something like if you have this on VCR or DVD, you want to put it in rewind it, put it in slow motion, and watch it again.
Yes.
And I did.
And I did.
It's like, really?
But he's like just choking the life out of him because he's got this strength in his hands, and that's what he's been squeezing that ball for, is to keep that strength up.
Yeah.
It's all too sinister and all too real,
True.
and he's just, by God, when I say ruthless kill, there's times you just want. I'd like to go to Judah Zach and like, dude, there's somebody right there you need to take care of.
How did he miss that? You know, how did
Well, how did he say? I know.
I just-
Ugh.
it's astounding. Sometimes the most ruthless of villains like Judah Zachary missed the easy one like Gabriel. We all did though. We all bought his bullcrap, you know? So
Yeah, but maybe
I
it was
don't
too easy.
maybe it was too easy.
Yeah.
When they get married, and as soon as James Storm's character and Quentin's wife get married, they open the door and there's Quentin Collins.
Honey, I'm home.
Honey, I'm home.
He's alive, and they tell him. And I love David. So he's like, "Congratulations."
Yeah. Just doesn't get mad. Just congratulations.
Man.
Oh,
I love James Storm's and David's interaction between the two because he goes, "We thought you were dead," and that's when he's like, "So did I. I thought we were gone."
yeah.
It's such a surreal moment between the two characters where they really gave a shit about each other.
Yeah.
And you saw their friendship right here. Like, even within a marriage, like, you saw the two, like, dude, I thought you were dead. And what did you think of their chemistry?
It was pretty fantastic, I thought.
Yeah.
Like I bought it. I
Yeah.
totally did. Like, yeah, these guys have been friends a while, you
Yeah.
know. And and at times Gerard seemed genuine, especially before Judah took over, for sure, because then it was just Judah. But Gerard, I feel, was genuine towards Quentin, which is why I have nothing to base base, that he had a hand in killing him. But they almost did seem like brothers.
And whatever Gerard's motive for really marrying Samantha, it's still an honorable move, especially for back then or even today, really, like marrying your brother's wife because he died to take care of the family, or
Yeah.
to marry your best friend's wife to take care of them,
And
because
that's,
you're all
yeah,
so close like that typically, So
totally.
even that really didn't get me as a dirty move on Gerard's part.
Yeah,
But then
buy
when
that.
Quentin came back, obviously it complicated a lot of stuff. But
Yeah.
even that single move in the very beginning with Gerard didn't really turn me off about who
from
I
Gerard.
might think he is.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like,
I
It was still
agree.
kind of an honorable move, but as we go along, it's Judah.
I don't think we realized it at the time, because up until now Gerard's been an evil character, and we're
Mhm.
just now meeting him in life. So I'm
Right.
not sure we realized it at the time, but now that we know what we know, going back and watching, you're like, okay, well maybe Gerard wasn't.
You get to see Gerard peek through a little here and there
Yeah.
with that possession, and you see it and you do feel it and
Yeah.
believe it.
I agree.
I do.
I agree. Yeah.
Yeah. We do learn that Gerard knows Pansy, or Letitia Faye, I should say, if I'm not mistaken. I almost called her Pansy Faye, but
The same thing.
Yeah, like Pansy.
right. And so they were part of this performing act, which was really cool. But you get Joan Bennett's character in this,
Laura.
Flora Collins. Is this the best Joan Bennett character?
Oh, I love that she finally got to break out a little.
Yes.
Definitely. It was fun to see her be fun.
I think she enjoyed Flora Collins,
Yeah.
because all this time, she's been playing the matriarch of the house, like almost every single role.
Yeah.
Every single role.
Basically, yeah.
You got Elizabeth, you got Naomi, and then Judith, and now Flora, who's not the matriarch, she's the mistress of Rose Cottage.
Yes.
So I think she got to have a little fun and be eccentric and be a writer who's a complete romantic.
Yeah.
And we just learned an interesting fact about Flora.
Yeah, and we want to ask you about it.
Yeah.
Flora, we were doing research, and apparently, I don't remember it being mentioned or whatever in the show, but apparently Flora is the daughter of Millicent and Nathan Forbes.
Really?
Yeah, that's what we read.
I think we read it on Wiki.
Dark Shadows Wiki.
I think.
I would say that I could see it, and here's why. It said, now, keep in mind, we can't ever fully go by the Collins family history book, because what does the Collins, Millicent never married? We know that's bullshit.
Yes.
So, did they conceive? Probably. They probably did conceive, and it's not something that gets mentioned in Dark Shadows. And just because something isn't mentioned doesn't mean it happened.
Exactly.
Yes.
So I mean, it's completely conceivable. I mean, I believe it.
I was
that Flora's-
floored.
Yeah, we were
by
like,
that
what?
Flora. I was like, hold on. But I looked at Kristen and I was like, well, it totally makes sense how eccentric they both are.
Yeah.
And how kind of flighty or maybe out of their mind
Flora
at times
does
they
kind
are.
of seem like Millicent.
But
like,
she's totally Millicent.
Yeah.
She is.
She's Millicent and
So-
Joan Bennett form, I think. So I mean,
It was really the Nathan Forbes thing that got me. I was like, really?
yeah. Well,
But
yeah.
you can totally see the relation with Millicent and Flora, though.
Totally.
If that's what it is.
Yeah.
But I had to bring that up because it floored me. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
Well, Nathan Forbes being allowed to have a kid, it's like, you need a drink for this. It's like, hold on a second, I need to brace myself.
uh-huh.
Nathan Forbes probably had a bunch of kids he didn't know about.
Yeah, no. He might had.
But I do think they conceived a kid without anyone knowing. I mean, just keep in mind, at a point in time, Millicent's out of her mind.
True.
Yes.
So they probably saw her when she got pregnant. It's probably like, oh, uh-oh.
Yeah.
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 But Nathan's gone, so
Yeah. It could have been a Jenny situation and the baby was taken, and a nursery, a nanny of sorts was taking care of her in town or something, but she was still a Collins, so
It's crazy.
that's why she's Flora Collins and not Flora Forbes.
Very true.
So,
Very true.
I know.
I didn't think about that, but yeah.
Now, my favorite John Carlin character ever, Desmond Collins, who
Yes.
who brings the head of Judah Zachary for Quentin Collins as as an occult present, because Quentin's into the occult like all the others Quentins are. And I love how he's just like demonstrated. He's holding out the severed head with a box. I'm thinking Desmond Collins would be the guy that would bring Quentin the Hellraiser puzzle box. Like, here you go.
Absolutely.
Yes. We surely would be.
Yes. Open it up. Open it up. For real.
Like, don't, Quentin, buddy, do not hit that middle button. Do not know. But what did you think of Desmond Collins?
Oh, Desmond Collins. I think out of John Carlin's Collins, sorry, now I can't. So John Collins characters.
Yes.
I think Desmond was my favorite. Between him and Carl. Carl was just a nutbag. He just was. But Desmond had moxie. Desmond was a little bit on the eccentric side because Flora is his mother, but
yeah.
But I love Desmond Collins, and I love how much he fought for Quentin and fought for what was right.
Yeah.
And like knew immediately that something was wrong with the head, tried to get rid of it, didn't work. But Desmond Collins, I feel like, was one of those, like when Barnabas comes to town, to Elizabeth, he's like, this is how a Collins should be. This is what a true Collins is. I feel like Desmond fit that mold too.
Yeah.
I mean, he wasn't like Quentin had a temper, and
Yeah.
we all know about Gabriel. So
he's just kind of like a more calm version of Carl for me.
Yeah.
Like Carl was very out there, very silly, very Desmond was more controlled and proper.
He was a lover. And
yes. Kind of a hopeless romantic, kind of like his mom.
Yeah.
I think.
I love Desmond. He was great.
Yeah. But in the end, he stood for what was right and corrected his wrongs and stood up. You know what I mean?
Stand up.
Stand up. Stand up. Stand up.
God,
But
He
know.
stood up for what was right and stood up for what he believed in.
Yes, what was right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I love his character. Do you both think that Flora should have got a romantic character to interact with? I mean, she flirts with Gerard Stiles a bunch of times.
Everyone does.
Yeah.
Like Gerard Stiles seemingly was more like Quentin than Gerard Stiles, you know? Because Edith loved him and Samantha loved him and Flora loved him and Letitia loved him. And it was like, is this Gerard or is this Quentin of 1897?
Yeah.
But yeah, I kind of do wish we had maybe gotten a love interest for Flora, but
it wasn't, it was rare with any characters Joan Bennett played.
Yeah.
It would have been kind of nice, especially not in her role as the matriarch for once, like to get her a little love interest going. I mean, that would have been nice to see.
I mean, even Joshua Collins didn't tell Naomi he loved her until after she died.
Yeah.
So, I mean, to get a love interest for one of Joan Bennett's, especially Flora, because Flora was great, you know.
She was a hopeless romantic.
Yeah. I mean, I can't think of anybody, maybe the blathering judge, but I don't know. But yeah. Anyway.
I do think that if there's any one character I think they could have brought back to do this with, would have been the actor who played Bill Malloy. But
Okay.
Man, they could have.
Frank I can't even say Schofield. I feel like can't even pronounce his last name. But
I think I could be wrong. I think it's Sheffield, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, it's one of them.
Still,
Sorry, weird ones. Sorry, dude.
no, I have trouble pronouncing it too. So it's like I'm not quite sure.
I know who you mean, though.
Right? Just Bill Malloy.
Bill Malloy.
And I think we actually mentioned that in a previous episode when we were covering the Bill Malloy thing.
Yeah.
And he is one of those characters that we wish they could have recycled for somebody else, like another character.
Totally.
Because he was I liked his Malloy
Yeah,
character, and I wish they would have brought him back.
I know, I agree.
But that would have
Wasn't
been a good way to bring him back
Yeah,
for sure.
maybe it's Bill Malloy's ancestor.
I'm
Yeah.
trying to think. So the head possesses Desmond for a while, and he finally tells Quentin the truth, and because at first he tells him about these books that he got him, when really he got him the head of Judah Zachary, and when he finally tells him the truth, they're on the hunt for this head. Dr. Julia Hoffman Collins. That's a mouthful.
Right?
That's a mouthful. Who who gets Letitia Fay gets her to help her attach the head back to the body of Judah Zachary.
Mhm.
I gotta admit, it would have been really, really interesting to see that. What did Jens think of Julia helping Judah Zachary?
It was like Adam and Eve all over again
You know,
for me for a minute.
you know what though? The thing that's crazy is that it was easy to get Julia back because she'd already been possessed by him once,
Yeah.
you know? And
Yeah.
it was like it didn't take much to get her back under Judah Zachary's power. And I think because, you know, he already got her once in 1995, you know, but I think if she'd have been successful, I think this story arc could have ended very differently, you know.
Yeah.
But it may have been easier for them to fight him off knowing that he was there instead of hiding in Gerard's body, you know.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Yeah.
it could have gone either way, I think. But
Yeah.
What did you think of them? Were you shocked that they actually failed at getting his head back onto his body?
am I
Were you shocked?
a little because
I know it
Oh,
kind of
only a little, and the only reason a little because Julia was so successful with the Adam and Eve's experiment. I mean, I know she did not put Adam together. We just had this discussion with Patrick McRae, and he totally blew my he blew my theory out of the water. But she did assemble Eve, you know, and you know she was very successful there. Didn't have any scars. Didn't have to treat her like a baby. So I mean, it was a little bit surprising that they weren't successful.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, that's about where I was at too. It was
Yeah.
like it didn't really shock me, but getting into what you were saying,
Yeah.
basically.
I sort of wonder if it's sort of fate intervening, where this is why they cut his head off, and it couldn't go back onto his body.
Yeah.
So he had to rely on possession. They had to cut off his head to sort of separate the power, because he was so powerful. Well, this is why they separate, so he couldn't reattach himself to his body, no matter who did it. So Julia, a modern day doctor in the past, knowing how to, bring someone back to life, not just Adam but Eve, as you both have talked about. But it doesn't work here because it just can't.
Yeah.
And it's really good storytelling by the writers that they do this and keep it continuity, and have just it go to like shit for Judah Zachary. It's like it feels like a moral victory, but we all know happy endings are not Dark Shadow straws.
those don't happen.
No.
He found another way in Gerard. You know, he found another way, and
Well, it's like you said, like he was stuck with the choice, not choice, he was stuck with the possession thing. Kind of like with Patofi, he was still alive.
Yeah.
But he was separated from his power, kind of like the head of Judah.
yeah,
But possession was like his only choice, really, at that point, to reassemble.
oh no, absolutely. And you know, Count Patofi just lost his hand. You know, okay,
Yeah.
you can live without your hand, you can't live without your head.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but yeah,
And Judah being one of the most powerful warlocks out there.
that the only way to stop him was to cut off his head.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and yeah, so I don't know. Is that a good answer?
You always get bunny trailed off.
I know. We always do. That's why our
No,
podcast is so dang long.
It's okay. I do the same thing with every video.
Shiny ball, right?
Yeah. It so when he possesses Gerard Styles, this is the body he's going to inhabit. How I mean, this just shows how talented really James Storm is. He's not. He's he's now going to play a full tilt heel.
Yeah.
What did you think of this?
I think it was incredible how he switched so quickly.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just, it was his whole face, it wasn't just his words and his body language. His whole face contorted into that of an evil being.
Yes.
It did. But then when he was Gerard, he was just smiley.
He was just softened back up.
Let me take away your headache, Gerard,
Yeah.
and then he was, and then he was all powerful. Wow. I mean, it was incredible, and I'm a James Storm fan, so I'm a little bit biased, but yeah, I think it was incredible how he switched back so seamlessly. Yeah. It was crazy.
I agree.
He really does a good job going from, because by this point in time, I mean, he's not a heel, but he becomes a heel when a cult leader of Judah Zachary, played by Humphrey Allen Ostrato, of course, why not? Shows up and gives him the head back that he threw this head off of Widow's Hill. We can officially say there's only been 2 survivors of Widow's Hill, Adam and a severed head. That's it.
Yeah.
So, that's like the survival list of Widow's Hill is shorter than Michael Myers' victims survive, which is
when we do our retrospective, that's going to come up too.
But it's really interesting because when he threw it off with us, I'm like, it's done, yeah. And no, that's what shocked me most.
Well, yeah. I mean, and it shocked us with, for me personally, it shocked me with Adam too.
Yeah.
When Adam jumped off, nobody survives Widow's Hill. Mm-hmm. That's why, and for the head to come back and survive, and it's not even damaged a little bit. Yeah. I mean, it's exactly the way that it was. Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's when it was like, okay, how powerful is this guy? Yeah. That his head survived without a scratch. Mm-hmm. I mean, Adam came off with a scratch. Yeah. So, I mean,
it was torn apart.
So,
yeah, I agree.
Chunks of his face missing.
Adam gets a 10 for the cannonball jump, basically.
Oh, yeah. Oh my god.
Cannonball. Yes,
he does.
where Judah gets like a -2 for dude, you only had a head. I mean,
just a head.
He just kind of rolled off Widow's Hill.
Yeah, he just rolled. He tuck and roll. That's why he survived. It was just a tuck and roll.
This is where people got the phrase from for the car. Tuck and roll. Just
yes.
But
yes.
Really, really good. He does an amazing job being this heel now. And I mean, he goes all the way with it, which I love. I love heels that don't ask for forgiveness, aren't looking for it. They're just full on bad.
Yeah.
And I prefer that in any movie, show, whatever you want to say.
I agree.
It's better for everybody involved, and especially better for the protagonist because now they have someone to go against.
Right. Yes. And they have to work that much harder. And if and when they have victory, it's way more satisfying, I think. Yeah.
Well, Judah wasn't the only problem Barnabas had to deal with. This lovely blonde wife of his decides to show up in 1840. Her name was Angelique. What did you think of Laura Parker coming back to Angelique?
I don't understand why she couldn't just be Angelique. Why'd you have to call yourself Valerie? We know who you are.
Well,
but I mean, I guess because, Barnabas told the story, Angelique's my mother, Barnabas is my father. So, I mean, if she had come on as Angelique, that probably would have been a dead giveaway. But the fact that she was still checking if Barnabas was still in his coffin, I was like, oh, this girl is still out for blood. She hasn't gotten over it yet. It's only been like 40 years.
Well, and this whole Lamar Trask and Gerard team up here, like that would have shut that down real quickly if she
True.
would have came in as Angelique.
True.
Even if she was given the Barnabas excuse about, oh, that's my mother, whatever.
Right.
It would have closed this book a lot sooner if she was going by the name of
That's-
Angelique.
That's true.
Especially
that's
with
true.
those two plotting and figuring it out.
That's true. And
But-
I think what made me, I mean, Angelique has done her job of pissing us off this entire series, but this one pissed me off because she blackmailed him into the same marriage, but you know, we're gonna be husband and wife, or I'm gonna kill your little, you know,
Your little girlfriend.
your little girlfriend, you know. and she does.
Yeah.
And she does.
She does.
And I don't know, there were so many moments in 1840 that, you know, made me want to shed a tear. And that was one of them, you know, where she just got Roxanne. Roxanne was innocent. She didn't even know about Angelique, you know, or excuse me, Valerie. She didn't know about Valerie, you know, and I don't know. But Angelique coming back, it was like the cherry on top of all the problems.
Like,
that
of course
Barnabas
she's
had.
here. Why wouldn't she be here? Of course she's here.
Yeah. Woo.
We got one more problem for you, Barnabas.
Yeah.
One more. Yeah, does it have to be that one?
Yeah, anything else? I'll take another Gerard. Can I? No.
Yeah, I'll take on two Trask.
This girl.
But I love how she comes back, because when she enters the old house, they're reading about how one of Judah Zacharias' disciples turned against him, and they mention the name Mary, and in walks Angelique. This is a perfect setup by the writers to do it. And Julia and Barnabas, they're like, oh God.
Yeah.
I love the interaction, and she's like, I love what Julia says though. She goes, I know who you are. I know you.
Yeah, she's like, I know exactly who you are.
Yeah. Like, so she knows what to expect. And I love Angela. Oh, you got her well trained.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, I know. He's like, your sister's in the grave. Who are you?
Mhm.
You know,
Mhm.
you ain't no sister of Barnabas Collins.
Mhm.
But it's amazing. They never miss a beat. Laura Parker and Jonathan never miss a beat.
No.
Incredible. And I think their chemistry was the best in this 1840
Yeah.
storyline, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah.
I mean, their chemistry was great throughout the show, but this 1840, I bought them. I bought them so much.
Mhm.
So,
It's like the actors knew what it was leading up to. So they're like, okay, man, this is the grand finale, Barnabas and Angelique. This is the grand finale here.
and I know we're not talking about this, but I felt like it got better in 1841 parallel time.
Yeah.
So, I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
with Bramwell and Catherine, yeah. I know we're not talking about that.
Catherine.
I just had to say that.
No, but I agree with you. I think when you see Bramwell and Catherine, it felt so natural. Like,
Yes.
it was just so easy to accept.
Mm-hmm.
And really 1840 sort of sets that up.
I agree. Yeah, it totally does. Especially with the way it ended, you know, with the way it ended. And then, you know, you're like, I can't believe it. They finally love each other. And then, you know, she dies. And then we go to 1840. It was kind of like the writer's way of making it
Like,
up to
boom,
us.
boom. Like, yeah, immediately. They're like, oh man,
So
we made a mistake. Hold
Yeah.
on.
yes.
Hold on.
It's the writer's apology letter without actually sending it to you.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
But so she does take care of Roxanne and turn her back into a vampire. This unfortunately is going to be the death of Roxanne, because Roxanne's brother is going to have to stake her in the heart, and she does.
Poor
Well, he
Randall.
does, sorry. But what did you think of Roxanne Drew in 1840?
I liked her a lot better in 1840. I felt like her place was 1840.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I hate to say it this way, because I liked her as a character. She and Barnabas in parallel time, and then again in regular time, almost felt a little forced.
Yeah.
But they were kind of an awkward couple. But in 1840, I got them a little more.
Yeah.
I felt like it felt a little more natural. And
Well, that and Roxanne had a little more depth and a little more backstory to her life. And
yeah, she was somebody's sister, you know, she had a family. You
We
know,
just knew her better. That's all I think.
Yeah.
For me.
and Roxanne in present day and in parallel time, she was all alone, had no family, just this Claude North that we got
Yeah.
so very little information about. But
Yeah.
she belongs to Samantha Collins. She belongs to Randall Drew. She
Mhm.
has a family, you
Mhm.
know, and so I don't know. I think you're right. I think she did have a lot more depth.
We just knew her a little better.
We did know her a little better, and they let us get to know her a little too well before they
Well,
gave her
and
the heave ho.
either Roxanne, Parallel Time, or 1840. I mean, she's such a sweetheart.
She is a
The
sweetheart.
She's such a sweetheart, and it's hard not to like her.
Yeah.
Like she's
agree.
very attractable. Like
Yeah.
and yeah, 1840.
Very
She
infectious.
shined in 1840.
I agree.
I love her as a heel in 1970 as a vampire
Yeah.
Yes.
because they did it like a mystery, which was different from how they did it prior. Now, I feel, and I'm not picking on them. I'm not nitpicking. I promise. I do wish they would have just had her as a disciple of Judah Zachary, and have her carrying the head around. That when Judah Zachary became Gerard Stiles, even have him go to a graveyard, not Eagle Hill, but another graveyard, and here's another chained coffin. Like, what's this? And here's the vampire of Roxanne. You will do my bidding, and it causes other problems.
Mm.
But they don't. I'm not mad at it, but I do sort of wish, because I do think at the end of the day she's a great character in 1840, like Yins are saying, and I think the fact that she has a brother, and a family, it makes you care about her. And when Barnabas fights her, it's like, really, Barnabas, really, no, you gotta
Controlling herself.
Okay, well, we remember the curse that she put on him ages ago. Whoever you love is gonna die, and she followed through again.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's like, when do you learn?
Mhm.
When do you learn?
Mhm.
Especially she's here in the flesh. I mean, it happened in the present, and now this Angelique is here in the flesh, calling herself Valerie. Did you really think she wasn't gonna get your little girlfriend?
Right.
But
Yeah.
She makes Angelique makes the Wicked Witch of the West look like a nice lady.
yeah, no.
Pretty mild compared to Angelique.
Yeah. She's queen bee.
When I hear the Wicked, I'll get you my pretty little dog. Oh, is that all? Oh, okay, take the dog.
We got
Okay.
But Angelique is just sinister as hell, which I love. But once Roxanne checks out, Roxanne's brother, he's upset about it. Barnabas left because he was still a vampire. Lamar Trask is really interesting because here's the descendant of Reverend Trask. He's his son. And so they bring back Jerry Lacey, obviously, which is great. What did you think of Lamar Trask?
Of course, at first you're like, here we go again.
Here we go again.
Here we go again. But he was like the most mild out of the Trask.
He was kind of the reject Trask.
Yeah,
he kind
like
of
the ugly
was.
duckling Trask.
He wasn't a minister. He wasn't. I mean, he was still very much. What is it called?
Religious.
A theist or theologian. I hate to say theologian because I never felt that way about Trask. He was a charlatan, but he wasn't so much that. I mean, he got qualities of that along the way. Oh, I'm going to fight the powers of evil, but he was more concerned with who killed my dad, and he was an undertaker.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
That
was a cool twist that, like you said, oh, here we go again, but he's not.
He's got a whole different set of hell that he's going to bring us.
Yeah, it's more just revenge on who killed my dad.
Yeah.
More than witch hunting or
and he was
prosecuting the wrong people, like.
And he wanted Roxanne too, and Roxanne was like, "No thanks, I'm good." Like over and over, I was like, when are you gonna learn? I said no.
Yeah.
But
what's really cool is how far he goes to try to do. We see a Trask say about it since he's there for it. He's not condemning it.
Oh yeah.
And they have this at Rose Cottage, which I love, and obviously Gerard Stiles, he's not Judah Zachary yet, so he helps along with this. And I love that you get Jerry Lacey doing a voice going, evil's in the house. I'm thinking, you need to listen to that voice.
Yes. Yes. Like father, like son.
And he's more talking about the head of Judah Zachary because it's right there in the closet.
Mhm.
But he says about who killed. He's asking his dad who killed him, and they do. I think they do another seance with this too. But it's really interesting how Lamar Trask, he's not afraid to dabble in the supernatural side at all.
Right.
I kind of appreciated that about him.
Yeah.
As a Trask,
Yeah.
it was that's why I say he's kind of like the reject Trask. He's not like
I didn't want to be in the preacher field.
yeah. I don't want to be in the I can't even put it into words, but we know how the previous Trasks have been on this show. And Lamar Trask, I feel, was different.
Yeah.
It wasn't really until he found his father's bones that he was like, "Oh, I bless the God Almighty," and became very much like his father, and like, oh, that was the point. I went, "Oh boy, here we go again,"
Yeah.
at first, and then again with that. But,
So Barnabas and Julia make a decision to tell Angelique the truth, to tell her everything.
Yes.
What were your thoughts on this?
Oh my goodness. At first I'm like, oh no, this is such a bad idea. No, don't do it. But Angelique was so jealous of Julia. I mean, she knew, Angelique could tell this elephant in the room that we've known all this time, ever since Julia came on the scene and started interacting with Barnabas, that she in fact loved Barnabas. Angelique knew. And Julia was like, we're just friends. It was like, we're very close. I know all there is to know about him. We have no secrets from each other. We're just very close. And Angelique couldn't handle that because
couldn't fathom that.
She was like, well, you can't have him. He's my husband, and okay, I know that. We're just close. And then she took Julia. She took her, and almost caused her death too, because she loved Barnabas. Nobody will be able to love you.
Yes.
And that was astounding to me, but then to see them team up and become a team, and we're going to help Barnabas and we're going to be a team, and Julia still doesn't quite buy it.
Yeah, that scene where they're in the old house talking, the three of them, and Julia's like, I'm sorry, Angelique, there's just been too much history, and I can't, and I don't believe you.
Yeah.
When she was trying to be clean and
yeah.
do that thing for Barnabas with no
and
payment back.
Like, oh well, she saved us both. Saved us from what, Barnabas?
Yeah.
Just had a total attitude about it, and
but rightfully so.
But that's kind of how I felt too. It was like, okay, when's the other shoe gonna drop, Angelique?
Exactly. She's like, I'm sorry, but there's always payment with you. What is it?
Yeah, exactly.
So
I think this is sort of where Barnabas is a little more experienced with Angelique than Julia.
Yes.
Because he knows, even though she cursed me, she's always keeps saying, well, she loves me. She's been honest to a point.
Yeah.
So we need to because here's the thing. Barnabas too, and so does Julia, they know what's at stake. They know what they left behind, the destruction. So they literally have nothing left to lose.
That's true.
And so they got to put their cards on the table with her. So they do. True. And I think that's one of the most, it's sort of I talked about was it Fortune Favors the Bold?
Yes.
It's a Deep Space Nine episode. That should be the title of this episode. Fortune Favors the Bold, because their bold move is trusting Angelique.
Yeah. Oh yes.
I mean, it's, hey, lay your cards on the table. Here's our cards. What's your cards? And Barnabas, I think, sort of knows the answer. And she's like, well, what will you give me? I'll give you my gratitude. And that was enough.
Yeah. Yeah. For once it was enough. Yeah. Like anytime anybody makes any sort of deal with Angelique, it's like making a deal with the devil. And, I wondered, it's like, yeah, they've got nothing left to lose, but how much more are they going to have to deal with? How much more are they going to have to fix by asking Angelique for help?
Well, and one of the best cards I think Angelique had at that time was she's only here because Barnabas is here. Uh-huh. Like, she doesn't really have any other real significant reason to be there.
Yeah.
except for Barnabas being there.
Well,
You know what I mean?
yeah, it's like 1897 when Evan Hanley and Quentin raised her up from the fire or whatever.
Yeah.
That's not the case here. She came looking for Barnabas, didn't find him, so went to Collinwood looking for him. So yeah, I agree with you.
There's no significant reason other than Barnabas.
Yeah.
Period. So that's really the strongest card in her hand. And
Yeah.
I think, like you were saying, Barnabas did think about that. Like,
Yeah.
looked at all the cards laying on the table. And, well, she's only here for me.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
we got nothing to lose. Let's try it.
I agree.
So, and he didn't regret it.
Yeah.
And I don't want to talk about that.
It
It makes me sad.
It does make me sad too.
but yeah.
She makes him human, and Barnabas ends up getting walled up. Angelique and Julia find him, save him. He ends up becoming Quentin's attorney. Quentin and Desmond have been arrested for witchcraft.
Yeah.
Judah Zachary is in full force here in Gerard Stiles' body. Everybody, it's weird. Everybody pretty much gets it. Gabriel gets it. God,
Yeah.
they all get it pretty much. And Quentin and Desmond are on they're gonna get beheaded. Angelique getting kidnapped by Humphrey Allen Ostrado's character. I
Charles
love
Shaw.
this. This is my favorite scene with Laura Parker where she saves herself
Yeah.
Yes.
from the just kills him cold, knocks him out.
Yeah.
No powers needed. People talk about Me Too. This is one of the best, maybe Me Too moments in all of Dark Shadows.
You know.
Totally.
It's like,
You know?
you took advantage of me, you kidnapped me, I'm gonna kick your ass. And she
And
does.
she does.
And she does. All by herself.
All by herself. And I think she's mortal at that point. She
Yeah.
can't,
Yeah.
use a spell on him.
Yep.
And she did. She whooped him and he died.
It's good for her.
And she ended up saving the day.
Yeah.
She got away from her captor and saved the freaking day.
Took that head straight to the courthouse.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man, what I that was one of those moments I was like, thank you, Angelique, thank you.
She's like, I told you, now I'm gonna make you believe it.
Yeah.
What
She
did you think about the trial of 1840, of Quentin's trial? What did you think about it?
It was so bizarre. So bizarre. It's like Charles Dawson was a friend of Quentin's, and then he shows up in the courtroom and he just starts pounding into Quentin. Oh, he's guilty, and the defendant this and the defendant that, and everybody's buying it.
Mhm.
This whole tribunal is buying it, and it's like, where did you come from? Where were you hiding that, Charles Dawson?
Yeah.
And and then poor Desmond is just trying to defend his friend, his cousin, and sort of failing miserably because Charles Dawson has always got something else to say when Desmond says,
Yeah.
and then because he chose to help his friend, he gets arrested and put on trial for witchcraft too and gets the same sentence. And it's like, oh, what just happened? What's
Yeah.
happening?
It almost felt like that Trask and Barnabas trial in the basement. Like it had no
Yeah.
foundation
No
whatsoever.
foundation, but the court is buying it,
Yeah.
and eating it up.
Yeah.
One of the most damning confessions you'll ever hear out of Desmond. Well, who had the head first? I did.
Yeah.
like I was just like, Desmond, don't do it.
No.
Don't do it. But he does, and you love him for it because it makes him all the more honest of a character.
Yeah.
I honestly didn't think that Desmond was going to make it out of 1840 alive.
Yeah.
I feared we were going to lose him. I really did. And I'm like, no, we cannot lose Desmond. But he rallies, but
Yeah, the writers always did a good job of keeping you in suspense of you might lose this character.
yes.
Yeah.
And they made you feel that with both Desmond and Quentin. It's like,
Yes.
by God, they're going to kill off a David Selby character. What, are they out of their mind?
No, you're not.
No, you're not.
Completely though.
Yeah.
Right. And so they don't. They have Angelique save the day.
Yeah.
And this is where Desmond gets a gun and shoots Gerard Stiles. And I love the scene from James Storm where he looks, I'm sorry. Like, I'm sorry.
I
And
wasn't
it's like,
myself.
it's okay. Like I think that's one of the most emotional scenes between
Oh,
two guys.
the last time we watched this, I'm sitting on the couch bawling. She's like, "You're gonna smear your makeup." I'm like, "I can't help myself."
But it's immediately with Gerard. He's like, Quentin, I need to talk to Quentin.
Yeah.
Immediately.
Yeah.
That's what got me.
He's like, "I'm so sorry, I wasn't myself," and I'm
oh
like,
my gosh.
and Quentin is just like,
It's okay.
I
It's
forgive
okay.
you.
It's okay.
"I forgive you, old man," you know, and it was just
Oh.
like, oh, my heart.
Oh, it's very beautiful, but very sad.
Oh,
And, and if you thought you were done crying, you're not going to be, because Angelique's going to get shot.
I know.
Barnabas admits his love to her, and she gets capped.
She didn't. It doesn't even make it to hear it.
Here's my question: was Barnabas ever really cursed, or did he curse himself?
Oh man.
Oh, okay. Okay. Now Angelique, with her supposedly dying breath, you know, as a woman scorned, you know, of all the women he could have scorned,
Right.
put the curse on him. However, there is somebody who says it. Magda says it, and she goes, "Those two deserve each other." She's right.
Yeah.
She's absolutely right.
Yeah.
Because he put her through so much hell, leading her on, feeling like, oh, he loves me, and she held on to that. And you know, when he did it again when Josette got married, okay, I'll meet you later, and then never does. I'm sorry, I love Josette. He kept doing this to her, and it's like, what did you expect that she was going to do? You know, did you expect her to just lay down and take it? So I think, in a way, Barnabas cursed himself.
Yeah.
In a way. So it was always going to be Barnabas and Angelique.
Yeah.
It was always going to be them.
And you know, and when Barnabas, again, a moment too late, but in the very end, it's like their life flashes before his eyes together. And in every single situation, good or bad, whatever, who was always there?
Who was always there?
Was Angelique.
Who was always there to bail him out?
He's like, you know what? Maybe I did love you. And like you said, he cursed himself.
Yeah.
You did it to yourself.
Yeah.
To a point. Like,
that's loyalty, you know. It's like death takes, you know, death would take mercy, but this is devotion. A curse takes devotion.
Yeah.
You know, and Angelique was devoted to Barnabas
hopelessly
in that way.
Devoted to Barnabas.
We all are hopelessly devoted.
I did a question on my channel, and I'll ask you about, what if Barnabas would have went to 1841 parallel time and tried to convince Catherine she was Angelique without his powers?
Ooh. Oh my God. Wow. That would have been.
Well, she wouldn't have married Morgan. I'll say that.
Yeah. But she was also pregnant with Bramwell's baby, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would have been a sticky
Bad
situation.
girl.
Great soap opera material, but sticky situation. Oh man. That probably would have been the ultimate, really.
Yeah, they, you know, and they possibly could have done that, you know.
Oh my God, they could have.
For Barnabas, and to Barnabas to meet his kid Bromwell, how cool, you know.
Oh, that would have been cool.
But yeah, to convince Catherine that she's Angelique.
Could you see where Jonathan Fritz talking to one of his own characters, and they're having the dialogue?
I would have liked to have seen that.
That would have been interesting.
For him to convince Catherine that she was Angelique, I feel like that could have, you know, started like a snowball effect, and it could have snowballed to where Barnabas became obsessed with Angelique the way that Angelique was obsessed with Barnabas.
In another time. And it's this way now. That is really good.
I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Makes for good writing, storytelling.
Wow.
I'm literally out of questions for 1840. Is there anything you both want to add?
I think the only thing we didn't talk about was Joanna Mills.
That's right, Joanna.
Quentin. Yeah, I guess we talked a little bit about her, but
yeah,
the fact that she comes back and saves the day and kills Samantha for being a bitch.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
So
yeah.
So I love that Joanna, and she gave up Quentin. She was like, Daphne, he's yours. I love him, but he's yours now because I'm dead.
And I guess the only thing, when we were talking about Roxanne, you mentioned it, Jewel, that I liked how they kept us in suspense about who it was. They couldn't really do that with Barnabas
The
because
vampire, yeah.
we knew Barnabas was going to be the vampire showing
Right.
up. But with Roxanne, you're like, who the hell is this?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And then when we finally, you're like, oh my God.
And I have to say, Julia's reaction when she finds out that Maggie has been attacked, she's like, Barnabas, he's like, I swear to God, it wasn't me.
It wasn't me.
So I love
Yeah.
that. He's like, I swear, he's like, Barnabas, how could she storms into the old house? I promise it wasn't me.
Ready to rip him a new one. He's like, it wasn't me.
Julia
But-
was ready to body slam him at that point. Like, I'm gonna kick your ass.
Uh-huh.
Like we've talked about
We've
this.
been through this. What are you doing? Yeah.
I think that's it too. I mean, I could talk James Storms all night, but
I will say this for Joanna Mills. I don't think Joanna's ghost was summoned by Judah Zachary. I think she just came because,
I think she just
I think
came.
she's like a Josette thing.
yeah, it really, really creepy too. Because even if when you see James Storm's face, he's doing it as, he's not just doing it as faking to be Gerard South. You sort of see it with Judah Zachary. It's like, wait, what? You know?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Mhm.
So I do think it wasn't something Judah caused. It was something this ghost came back for a reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This was its own entity. I don't think
Yeah.
I don't think Judah Zachary had anything to do with it.
Yeah.
But
I agree.
I think it was a family thing, protecting her sister,
Yeah. Yeah.
So I
For
think
these-
I have a lot of questions too.
Yeah.
The link to these two ladies' channel will be in the description box. Between the Shadows, a Dark Shadows podcast. Go check them out on YouTube. Go follow them on Twitter at Lady, what is it? Lady
Lady Mongoose.
Lady
yeah.
Mongoose and I Don't Care. Go
Hers is better.
I do care, I promise.
follow the handle. Don't believe the handle.
Just find me.
Thank you, Jewel.
But they are super great Dark Shadows fans, and they always have great insight. But go check out their channel for sure. Thank you both for joining me tonight.
Thank you,
Thanks
Jewel.
for
It's
having
a
us.
blast as always.
Yep, I had fun. Bye.
Bye.